welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg. I hope everybody's doing well today. And shout out to Extra Bulla. Warren, how are you? Same with Daniel Berry Sports Highlight. How are you today? I hope each and every one of you are doing well, and anybody else who will be dropping in at this hour. And let's start about. I know it's January 10th. Just became January 10th past midnight. And hey, how are you doing, Rick? I'm doing okay. It's great seeing you here. It's just past January 10th. It's 12:14 a.m. right now as I'm live streaming this video. Just several days after that day, January 6th. And I'm not talking about the first Sunday of Epiphany or anything like that. I'm talking about January 6th, the what people call the insurrection. And not that I'm a fan of gosh, what's his name from Status Quo, but I think he was the one that referred to it as oh God, I can't think of the name of that guy from Status Quo, but I think he referred to it as a diet coup. I think it was him that came up with the phrase diet coup. May have been somebody else. But suffice to say, that's what it was. It was a diet coup. And I remember that day very well. I worked graveyard shift. Jordan Sheridan, thank you. I knew his name started with a J, and I knew his last name started with a C. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, Jordan Sheridan. He was the one that came up with the phrase diet coup, I believe. Anyway, I remember when that day happened. I worked graveyard shift, so I came home as I normally do. I'll go home, and if I have time and the energy in the morning, I'll do a live stream. And I know that's probably what I was doing back in January 21, a whole lot, usually in the mornings when I got home from work, or running some errands or what have you, and then I'll go to bed. It was in early January. The force to vote thing was in full display by people on the online left. People who were mired in the online left. It was like the forced vote versus non-forced to vote, or being against forced to vote. And I remember that in late 2020, early 2021. And y'all know my position on forced to vote. We missed our opportunity to make a real grab at Medicare for all. But I'm not going to go into that side issue, except that I think that January 6th pretty much kill any further real debate on this issue, although they were still kind of debating that issue on and off. But I think everybody got focused on January 6th. So damn it, those Trump supporters, they kind of ruined it for everybody there. So but anyway, I went to sleep that morning, and my parents were visiting because they usually visit around Christmas and stay here till sometime in January. That's the customary thing they do. So they came as usual here from flying from. They live in Puerto Rico, so they came to visit me at Christmas, and they were here till maybe mid-January. That's anyway. I remember being waken up because my parents cooked that evening. We eat out half the time. I got up, freshened up because I had to go to work that evening, and I as I was getting ready for dinner, my dad looked at me and said, "Hey, do you watch what happened in the news today?" And then I was like, "No, I've been asleep." Well, he told me what happened with the insurrection, and I said, "Really?" And then it happened to be the 6:30 news, and they were starting to talk about it. And so we looked at it, and it got kind of explained to me real quick what happened. It came to my attention, and I busted out laughing. And my dad was upset with me. He's like, "You think this is funny?" I said, "Absolutely, it's funny as hell." it is funny as hell because I'm like, just look at these yahoos out there protesting. With their sour grapes mentality. I mean, I'm not happy Biden won. I'm not happy that Trump could have won. I mean, again, I tell people you can be opposed to both candidates. You can be. For some reason, we are in a mindset that if you criticize one candidate, you're by default for the other candidate. That's bullshit. But in spite of how gruesome there is in concept, these yahoos with their yeehaw politics, with the news, setting up a news like they're trying to relive a gross chapter of the Turner Diaries, called "The Day of the Rope." I mean, it just kind of like, you know, really, and how in the hell can anybody respect these people in doing this? Okay, um, and they're more mad. They're more mad that Trump was supposedly cheated in 2020 than, let's say, we're getting over a pandemic at that time, sort of thing, sort of getting back to normal at that time, with a lot of the lockdowns ending at that point, and whatever you think of the vaccine, one way or the other, people being vaccinated. And we're going to go worried about whether Trump was supposedly cheated or not. I personally think that, no, do I think that the election was rigged? I think all elections are rigged. Every elections, there's always infractions in every election. Every election has some kind of infraction or something. Do I think that Trump's election was stolen from him? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They were trying to get back to normal, and they saw Joe Biden as normal. Yeah, I know he's got a melting brain, but he sort of represented a status quo or something very stabilizing, or most people did. And I am so sorry about that little graphic thing in the mouth. Okay, right there. Sorry about that. So, thing about it is that they had a sour grapes mentality with this Stop the Steal rally. And so, with the Stop the Steal rally that took place and everything, and watching the videos of them marching into the Capitol and all of that, I mean, that was just pure insanity, pure silliness, as far as I was concerned. Just such a spectacle to see what them being so mad that a billionaire who became president for 4 years may not be serving as president. Well, he may be in January 25. But point is, here's the thing. These people make fun of Hillary Clinton supporters for crying and being like, wah, about Trump winning and depriving the country of the first female president or what have you. I mean, they were, and it was a spectacle seeing a lot of people with the Trump derangement syndrome in the liberal side of the country, or those who identified as liberal. It was embarrassing watching this. That made the young girl screaming as Trump is getting sworn in 2016. Ah! The one with the toboggan. It made her look like a voice of reason compared to these damn yahoos that are like, our president got cheated, and we're going to take back the country. Yeehaw! I mean, that's what it came down to. It came down to that. And as I said, you're mad about a billionaire supposedly having an election stolen, but you're okay with people without health care. You're okay with people, if they can't pay their rent, well, fuck them. You're okay with that, but not okay with a bill. You make a victim out of a adult size orange Frito with basically who is a loose cannon, you're getting upset that he was deprived, as if he was a great president. As if he was a great president. I'm going to be 55 years old in March, and I have not yet seen what is defined as a quote unquote great president. I mean, honestly, I have not seen a quote unquote great president yet in my lifetime. I'm waiting for a great president. I'm waiting for a mediocre, okay president. Haven't seen one of those motherfuckers around. So, I mean, to sit there and act like that Donald Trump was this one great man and he was accomplishing making great America great again. You can make America great again by doing things that America never did before. Oh, I don't know. Expanding union rights and making sure everybody has Medicare for all and having free college and a jobs program and cutting the military budget by, at the very minimum, 50% and just close down the bases all around the world and mind our own fucking business. Oh, that would make America great again. But no, we do the opposite of anything that's positive in this country because, I mean, this country is, sometimes I feel like this country's beyond hope. Unfortunately, I feel that way more than anything else. But as I said, these people went there in January 6th and breaking into the U.S. Capitol. And I didn't have the shaman photo here, but y'all know about the QAnon shaman fucker there. I mean, it was just kind of like, come on, guys, and everything, and just these people, these whacked individuals that stormed the U.S. Capitol. But I tell you, no, don't do that. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. I'll play a little bit of a video right now from. Let me go ahead and take this down. I'll go ahead and play a video from Glenn Greenwald, what he had to say about this so-called stolen election. And this was this came out. The Turncoat Dawn video came out a few days ago. Apparently, Glenn Greenwald's debating Destiny and Alex Jones and some other folks and everything. So we'll go ahead and play you his take, and I will share you my take of his take. So give me a second here as the screen tries to make up its mind whether it's going to expand to a full size or not. We got to do something about that. Okay. I'll let Glenn Greenwald take it away.
Was murdered when he had his head bashed in through a fight with a fire extinguisher, only to learn that actually he called his mother that night. He was fine. He died the next day of what the coroner said were natural causes. Because the media knew that if you can't say that even one person supposedly perpetrating the insurrection killed anybody, pulled out a gun, let alone discharged a weapon, all of which is true, it's a joke to call this an insurrection. At best, it's a riot. And that's the reason why Trump hasn't been charged with an insurrection. The only time he ever commented on January 6th about whether he thought there should be violence or not was when he said the following. He said, I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. He urged them to be peaceful in how they went there. To the extent there was violence, I think you can make the argument that the FBI informants that even the New York Times admits were there were the ones that urged it. But even if the people who were there were the ones responsible, at best this is a riot. You could so easily make the case that the 2020 riots were a far greater insurrectionary threat than anything that happened on January 6th. Let me just.
Okay, I want to go and say something about that. I am inclined to agree that it was basically, like a miniature riot. Jordan Sheridan called it a diet coup, and Glenn Greenwald called it a mini riot. As far as comparable to all the rioting around the country that took place in the year 2020 and all that, there's a couple of ways to look at it. One, we know that the media exaggerated a lot of aspects of the riot and try to make it sound like the Black Lives Matter and the Antifa people were overly violent or what have you. I don't think that they were overall. I mean, you might find some isolated cases that they were. There were cases where the Proud Boys were out there in some of these places who were being provocative and everything, and for some reason, the media, even the so-called liberal media, kind of plays down when the right wing do things, but wants to go and punch left, and that's what's been going on. There were people had a cavalier attitude about instituting the Insurrection Act under Trump. Wanted Trump to do that, and that was dumb. Now, as far as Feds infiltrating the people that were out there at the Diet Coup mini riot or insurrection, whatever you want to call it. I am prepared to believe that they would do that, because I think that I think the FBI will infiltrate all political movements, left, right, and even in the center. I just think that they're everywhere, and if there's anything that looks like could be a problem, they'll try to go do a little bit of sabotage work within it, and so I'm prepared to believe that. What I'm not prepared to believe, however, is that Trump is some sort of victim. And I'm not here to sit there and engage in Trump derangement syndrome, saying he's a total son of a bitch. He's a total son of a bitch on some things, but so is the current asshole in the White House. So there is also that. I may come back to this video and let Glenn Greenwald continue, but I the conspiracy nuts, and I don't mean Alex Jones per se, although I wouldn't put it past Alex Jones to say what this guy says, but this guy makes Alex Jones look like I don't know, it makes him look like Breonna Joy Gray by comparison. His name is Wild Bill for America, and listen to the horse shit that this guy had to say about it. This video was not. I don't think this video is on YouTube. He makes Rumble videos so he can really run his mouth, I guess. So anyhow, we will let.
Tomorrow, President Donald Trump will be arrested and booked at the Fuller County Jail. His crime? He dared to demand an honest vote count in the 2020 election. Donald Trump has now become the most wrongfully persecuted man in America.
Even though he's not American, I can guarantee you Julian Assange is way more persecuted than Donald Trump. Again, people like Wild Bill for America making a victim out of Donald Trump. Yes, pretty damn sad.
The FBI and the entire Washington, D.C. establishment savagely, sadistically investigated Trump for 3 years and found no crime they could charge him with. But now that Donald Trump's re-election is approaching, they have magically found 91 felonies to charge him with.
Okay, about those 91 felonies, if you think he's innocent of every one of those charges, Wild Bill for America, and I'm not going to dispute that maybe some of them are, pardon the pun, trumped up charges, but I think that he's guilty of many of those charges. But if you think he's wholly innocent of all 91 of these charges, I got some really, really cheap beach property in Wyoming I could sell you for a song. So you just let me know if you want some beach property in Wyoming, you little redneck retard, and I will be glad to sell you some really cheap beach property in Wyoming.
Everybody, and I mean everybody, knows that those are 91 despicable lies. But the Democrats and their godless constituents don't care.
Oh my God, really? The godly Democrats. Look, dude, I got a lot of beef with the Democrats. The fact that they're more secular than the Republican is probably one of their better things about them. And I say this as somebody who despises the Democratic Party.
The judge will be Tanya Chutkan, and she has all the makings of a left-wing political hack. Appointed by Obama.
Obama is not a leftist. You trailer park hack.
She made a name for herself by hammering the January 6th defendants with outrageous sentences.
Now, I know about some of those sentences, and I think that the majority of the people that were there did not come there for a mini riot, a diet coup, or insurrection. They went there to blow off political steam. Ooh, you fucking Democrats! Oh, Trump is our man. Make America great. Yeehaw! I think that's what it came down to with a lot of them. However, when they went into the Capitol, I think that they got their emotions all charged up, and they followed the crowd. And I would even go as far to say that I think that some of the sentencing for many of them, not all of them, but many of them, were a bit severe. I think that there's a lot of them you could just give them a misdemeanor charge and a small fine. Of course, to Wild Bill for America, he probably thinks they should get some free medal, presidential Medal of Honor for freedom when they think that Trump is going to come back into the White House or something. That's the kind of person he is.
The American people know that the January 6th incident was orchestrated by Nancy Pelosi, who sent Antifa in dressed as Trump supporters to act like animals.
Wild Bill, again, I despise Nancy Pelosi. I despise her with great passion. But it didn't take a Nancy Pelosi, or it didn't take the Democrats to make those Trump supporters who look bad. It didn't. It did not take these right-wingers, even though I think that maybe the sentences were a bit harsh. It doesn't take a bunch of shit libs to make them look bad. Those people, those motherfuckers can look bad on their own.
Most defendants were simply concerned Americans who went to the Capitol to exercise their First Amendment right to.
Yeah, I will agree with you there. Everybody should have First Amendment rights, even a retard like you.
Petition the government over the election fraud. Judge Chutkan showed extreme hostility towards those citizens. And that, I am certain, is why she was selected to judge President Trump. There is no way Trump can get a fair trial in Chutkan's court.
And let me tell you, forget Trump. I'm still interested in the prosecution of George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. I remember, and let me tell you, you are a Republican Party hack that's hung up on 1993 era Rush Limbaugh talking points. The only reason you're rah sucking Donald Trump dick here in this video is because he is the current leader of the GOP movement right now. Had it been Jeb Bush in 2016 or Ted Cruz or somebody like that, or Mitt Romney or John McCain, your old man lips would be wrapped around that shaft, politically speaking, giving any Republican presidential candidate or president the blowjob that you love giving Republican leaders. I don't give a flying fuck if you say you're in the Constitution Party now. You are a Republican hack.
If she had an ounce of respect for the law, she would do the right thing and recuse herself from this case. If the Democrats had any respect for the rule of law, they would have never brought these charges. At the very least, they should transfer the trial to a neutral jurisdiction. But no way. The Democrat Party has devolved into the new Nazi regime.
A fascist calling a bunch of wimpy Do nothing, shit lives, Nazi is very ironic.
And when I say Nazi, I am not exaggerating at all. The similarities between Adolf Hitler's Nazi party and today's Democrats is frightening.
You invoke more Nazism than any Democrat. I mean, and again, it's your right that you want to do it, but you bragged about being on Gab. Gab is a white supremacist social media platform, and you're bragging about being on Gab in the past and everything. You know, I could go and say, well, you're a Nazi if you're going to be on Gab, and, you know, whatever, dude.
I will do videos presenting the evidence on that in the near future. The arrest of one of America's best presidents is our national day of shame.
We haven't had a best president since FDR, and even under FDR, he done some fucked up shit.
If they will do this to President Trump, they will do this to anyone who dares to challenge the corruption of Washington, D.C.
And you would do the same and even more to people that you disagree with. I have problems with Rashida Tlaib, but not the same kind of problems that you have. My criticism of Rashida Tlaib is based on intelligence. It's a criticism of her from the left. But you think that you said in the past that you think she ought to be put in Guantanamo Bay just because she hurt Israel's feelings. Well, you know what? Anybody who believes that Guantanamo Bay should remain open so they can do whatever they want with political prisoners is scum and has no credibility whatsoever. You redneck piece of shit motherfucker.
The arrest of Donald Trump moves the United States closer to Civil War number 2.
If the federal government's listening to this guy, listen to him, what he's saying about Civil War.
Closer than we've ever been before. It's time to fast and pray for the nation. We are truly entering into dangerous days.
And it's motherfuckers like Wild Bill for America is the reason why. Yes, so... But now, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about her for a moment. And I'm talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who basically, I think there was a video that went a little viral again in the last few days about her, you know, being at the, being in fear of her life and all of that. And apparently she was not in the building when it happened, but she wants to be the drama queen. With, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the person who once championed Medicare for all, but decided to stop championing Medicare for all, and her new crusade was to be for censorship, deplatforming. Again, I've said this on Twitter, and I'll say it here, and I probably have said it here before. In fact, I know I have. Her new obsession is to relish in the deplatforming of Tucker Carlson. I don't like Tucker Carlson, but Tucker Carlson, being deplatformed on Fox News was a political hatchet job by Fox News, and I that's what it came down to. And she's going to be happy that a network that talk as much shit about her as Tucker Carlson take glee over his deplatforming. Overall, Fox News hates AOC more than I think Tucker Carlson does, individually speaking, with regard to his commentaries. But this is the kind of stupidity. I used to go and try to defend her honor when people said, oh, yeah, she's stupid. No, you don't understand AOC. She may be a little immature, but she's not stupid. No, I say she's stupid. She's smart enough to go and be in the limelight and to have a camera in front of her face with her good looks and charm and all that. But AOC, just like Tulsi Gabbard, good looks and charm can carry you so far. You're not fooling anybody, and you need to stop being a liar. So, I call out everybody the way I see it. I call them all out. So, anyway, let's go back to Glenn Greenwald for a quick moment, and I will share some of my insights about this January 6th insurrection situation. So let's do that. All right. Give me a moment.
Let me just say, what happens is when you gather together to debate a particular question, you're supposed to debate that particular question. The particular question that we were presented with is we're going to debate January 6th and whether it was an insurrection. Now, I don't blame Destiny and Ed for not wanting to debate that, for wanting to debate a whole set of other issues about whether Trump acted improperly, whether he was naughty and the things he did after the election, because there is no argument to make that what happened on January 6th rises to the level of insurrection. And that's why an extremely aggressive prosecutor named Jack Smith decided not to charge Donald Trump with that crime because he knew there was no way that he could possibly bring a conviction against anybody, let alone Donald Trump, who told everybody to be peaceful when going to the Capitol, about whether or not that was actually an insurrection, whether that rose to that level. And even in a colloquial sense, what we've called an insurrection in the past is in a completely different universe. But on the issue of whether there was a real belief on the part of Donald Trump that elections were stolen, I don't understand how anybody could doubt that, aside from the fact that you have to get into Trump's head. In the last three elections that Democrats lost, in 2000, 2004, and 2016, a very large Democrats believed that the election was stolen, and was the byproduct of fraud, and the president was, as a result, illegitimate. When I started writing about politics in 2005, the idea that George Bush was the real loser of the election, Al Gore won, was the view of every single liberal and Democrat that I knew. In 2004, there were objections claiming that Karl Rove had interfered in the Ohio vote with the Diebold machines and cheated to make John Kerry lose and George Bush win. And then in 2016, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats said that Donald Trump was the illegitimate winner, that Russia had helped him, and they tried to convince the Electoral College to abandon the certified results of the state. Obviously, you go back to 1960, and there's a lot of historians believe that election was stolen. So it's not like Donald Trump was the first person to ever wonder or believe that an election was stolen from him. It's a very significant tradition in American political history, if you know anything about politics before 2016. And if Trump believed that the election was stolen, and while it's true, a lot of people in the Justice Department and a lot of people in the White House told them they didn't think it was, he did have advisors and lawyers telling him that they think there was evidence of it, then the question is over. Even on these other issues about what.
Okay, I want to go and touch on what Glenn Greenwald said. All these people who thought that Trump was cheated in 2020, I bet you probably about 90% of them thought that George W. Bush winning in Florida, or supposedly winning, let me rephrase that, supposedly winning in Florida, it was legitimate. Or that it was legitimate in 2004 with the voting machines in Ohio, or that Now I will agree with the Republicans with regard to the 2016 election about Russia. I never believed in Russiagate. I have never ever believed in Russiagate, and this is where I think the Democrats were wrong. They were correct about 2000. I do not like Al Gore, for God's sake. I do not like Al Gore. But George W. Bush's election was illegitimate from my standpoint. And the Republicans today who claim that the voting machines and all of that were tampered with in 2020 were laughing at the Democrats when the Democrats talked about the voting machines in Ohio in 2004. So you're going to laugh when the opposing party does it, but you think that you got the moral high ground, you Republicans, when you go and go with the same conspiracy theory. And yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it's a conspiracy theory about 2000 and 2004 with the Democrats and 2016. But how is it that it's a conspiracy theory when they do it, but when the Republicans engages in the conspiracy theory, it's not a conspiracy theory? I kind of think they're all full of shit myself, all of them. But my take in 2000, and I voted third party. I would vote exactly the same way I voted in 2000. I voted for David McReynolds of the Socialist Party for president in 2000. And if he wouldn't have been on the ballot here in North Carolina, I would have voted for Ralph Nader. My point is that, and I have voted for Ralph Nader several times over the years. But the point is, Kathleen Harris in Florida was the Secretary of State, and she was a Republican. She was by no means impartial to this. The governor of Florida in 2000 was George W. Bush's brother, Jeb Bush. The U.S. Supreme Court by the year 2000 was stacked heavily from the Reagan and Bush 1 era. And they declare George W. Bush the winner in the 2000 election, 2000 election. And to this day, I'll give you my take on things. I never recognized the George W. Bush presidency. He was not my president. But I can say this with a degree of authority. When I say it, it's real. When the Republicans say what they said about the Democrats that I don't care for my own reasons. And my reason for disliking, whether it's Bill Clinton or Barack Obama or Joe Biden, my reason for criticizing them is valid. The only criticism against Democrats that's valid is criticism from the left. Not the right-wing Republicans and not the centrist Democrats who think that the current path of the Democratic Party is too far left, when the problem with the Democratic Party is too far right. But anyway, I'm sort of going off a tangent here. Thing about it is that situation is that both sides have accused each other of fraud over the years. And the only fraud that there was, and I hate defending him now, but the only fraud that there was the fraud against Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 2020. But I even hate to say that now, because I'm not as charitable toward Bernie Sanders as I used to be. So, but objectively, if there was a fraud going against anybody in 2016 and 2020, it was against Bernie Sanders. You could say that there was some fraud in 2008 in the primaries against Dennis Kucinich on the Democratic side and Ron Paul on the Republican side, whatever we may think of Dennis Kucinich or Ron Paul. And so, and let's talk about the biggest fraud there is electorally. The attempts to make damn sure third parties don't get elected, to keep them off the ballot and by every means possible, whether we're talking about U.S. state governments coming up with these ballot access laws where it would take some weird amount, 100,000 signatures to get a political party on the ballot, and finding ways to take third parties off the ballot, like they did in 2022 in North Carolina. The Green Party achieved ballot access again after being off the ballot in 2020. After the 2020 election, they got their ballot access back. And then the North Carolina State Board of Elections basically decided to take the Green Party off the ballot, but it was only temporary, and they were able to get back on the ballot. And so that's where we're at. I mean, if you want to talk about election fraud and, and your shit lib wine drinking Karen bitches and your redneck retards like Wild Bill for America, who's a cocksucker for the Republican Party, would not sit there and be concerned about third parties, because they don't like third parties, and their thing is to fuck the needs of people who desire a third party, whatever ideological direction they go, left or right. And that's where we're at right now in this country. And so I myself will vote in the 2024 election. I have no fucking idea who I'm going to vote for. I know who I'm not going to vote for. I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump, and I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden, just as I do not vote for Democrats and Republicans in every election. And but who am I going to vote for in 2024? I will either vote for Cornel West or Jill Stein or Bill Stodden or Claudia Dela Cruz, whoever is on the ballot. And those are my four choices of independent voters, candidates. Those are my four choices. And they all have roughly the same ideology. I just don't know who's going to be on the ballot. And, you know, and that's where we're at right now. I would like to, you know, I was fully on board 100% for Cornel West, but Cornel West decided he was not going to be a Green Party candidate. And so whether he's going to be on the ballot or not remains in question here in North Carolina. I have some serious doubts that he'll be on the ballot at all in North Carolina, but maybe he will be. I know that the Green Party will be. The Green Party's solid on the ballot right now. And I don't know about Dela Cruz or Stodden as far as what their status is going to be on the ballot in the year 2024. But after the 2024 election, other than maybe some ballot initiative that's in or something like that, or voting on a constitutional amendment, yay or nay, I plan to never vote again for a political candidate running for office, because the system here is so fucking goddamn rigged in ways, you know. I mean, you talk about a banana republic. We're a banana republic when it comes to elections, the way that third parties are rigged. So, you know, for these shit lib latte drinking motherfuckers who are basically, you know, just wants to go back to having brunch, and these redneck rabble-rouser Confederate flag waving motherfucker, yeehaw, that the Republicans held, who there's no choice for someone like me from the two-party system, you know. Vote for a group of fascists like the Republicans, or vote for something that's economically slightly to the right of the British Conservative Party or the German Christian Democratic Union, which are the Democrats here. Chris had just said that if you stick the Democratic Party here in Europe, almost in every country on that continent, they would be to the right of the center right. And that's where we're at right now, because we do not have a Labor Party, we do not have a Democratic Socialist Party, or a Social Democratic Party, or a Communist Party, or any other type of workers' party that's available in other countries to vote for. We have the Greens, but again, there's no Green Party presence in the U.S. House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate. I hope that would change, and I hope that would take place, just as I hope there will be other third parties on the left coming along too, doing this sort of thing. But this is where we're at right now, and I just want to state that it's a fact. So we'll let Glenn Greenwald continue, and I will conclude with my final words.
Whether or not Trump engaged in some conspiracy against the United States, but the issue is January 6th an insurrection?
Well, that's right. But I mean, Glenn, since let's one thing, listening, and these guys haven't talked to neither is Professor Beatty. Hillary was in videos 2 days ago saying Trump's going to steal this election. So why are they allowed to say it? It's free speech. You don't get indicted for it.
Trump didn't get indicted for that.
Oh my God. They indicted him and they put it in the charging thing in Georgia.
Oh, wait, here we got Glenn. Glenn speaking. Go for it, man.
So it's just about I actually want to ask a question that I would love to hear everybody's answer to. But before I do that, just want to say about federal judges. This year, in the last 6 months, 4 different federal judges, a district court judge, and then an appellate court unanimously found that the Biden administration gravely violated the First Amendment. In fact, the greatest assault on free speech, the court said, in decades, maybe the history of the judiciary, by systemically pressuring big tech to censor the internet and purge it of all dissent by threatening big tech companies using the CIA, the FBI, and the CDC with punishment if they didn't censor the internet. Now, you may not agree, but according to your standard, 4 different federal judges concluded that, which is infinitely worse.
And I was a victim of that myself, of censorship, when I commented on the 2000 election in a video that was taken down when I was criticizing Dick Cheney's endorsement of his daughter, Karen Cheney. I'm sorry, Liz Cheney. No, I meant what I said, Karen, his daughter Karen. And I basically talked about the 2000 election, but the algorithms thought that I was saying that the 2020 election was supposedly stolen. And I never said that. I explained that to YouTube and trying to go through the proper channels. And they basically told me to fuck off by ignoring me. I was able to get that video back, and I was suspended for a week off of YouTube back in summer 2022. So anyway, we'll let him continue.
In terms of an abridgment of freedom or an attack on the Constitution than anything that Trump is accused of doing.
That's
but in
not
terms
true.
of whether
That's
a digital insurrection by the deep state. Digital insurrection.
Can I put a pin
All
on
right,
one thing real quick? That I just want it to be noted.
Hold up, everybody, hold up.
Okay, let me. You heard Alex Jones doing his thing. So I let me just say this about someone like an Alex Jones who's an economic libertarian, and I have a problem with so-called libertarians who are just anarcho-capitalists and just right-wing Republican assholes otherwise. I'm not saying that that's fully the case with Alex Jones, but I do have a beef with people like Alex Jones when he calls out on online censorship or censorship in general, especially online. And what I mean by that is that that the solution to this shit is to come up with a U.S. law to turn all of social media into a public utility. This does not mean a government takeover of all internet providers and all of social media, but it means to guarantee the free speech rights of content makers and to guarantee the right of these companies from frivolous lawsuits and this sort of thing. That's how you do your damage control. And say what you want, just short of threatening somebody's life or short of advocating violence and having a shitty idea or point of view. It's not the same as advocating violence. Allow these people to have their say and let the best ideas win in the arena of, in this arena of ideas, which is social media, which is the new town square. Anything less than that, you're going to have the problem still exists. So I just want to say that. I think it was Max Blumenthal on the Jimmy Dore show a couple of years ago talking about we need a digital bill of rights to protect independent content makers, and I guess to protect the companies from frivolous lawsuits. You don't want anybody to be unfairly sued. So that's where I stand. Now, what am I going to say? Well, I'm going to conclude by saying this, and if you don't mind, if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show. And I'm going to make this as a special request. Right now, I've been on the air as the Willie Bragg Show for the past almost 4 years. We're trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to this channel. And so we can get up to 1,000. And it's not about me, but it's about being an independent content maker, being part of independent media. Corporate media has nothing to offer us, so we need our own voices out there to tell people what's up. not necessarily even preaching to the choir, although there is a little bit of that. People who stumble across it, who may have had a different point of view, will listen to our ideas and think, well, maybe they're onto something. So this is the importance of having independent media. And so this is why I asked to subscribe to my channel and to subscribe to other channels as well that provides content from an independent perspective, preferably a left-leaning progressive perspective. So that's my appeal to you all right now. If you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any ways you disagree with what I have to say, and we will have a conversation. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are the muckrakers of our time. Always reject corporate media because they have, as I said, nothing to offer. And subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all the channels that are listed below. All the platforms I have listed below. And I will go and talk to everyone here on the chat line in just a second here. So if you don't mind doing that, I appreciate it. And so let me go ahead and give a shout out to everybody real quick. I almost forgot to do that. And I hate doing, like I'm ignoring people, and I'm not. So I see that Cowboy Kitty is here. How are you doing, my friend? And we have Desert Mantis here. How are you doing today? Let's see. And yeah, they stormed the Capitol to replace a fascist with a fascist they like. That's could very well be the case. Yeah, that would be probably a very fair assessment of the situation. Because if you're going to call Trump a fascist, well, there are arguments to say that Biden's done some fascist shit too. So I mean, both parties are authoritarian. So I mean, that's what it comes down to. I would not call it a riot. I call it a meeting of FBI agents and tools. Yeah. So let's see. I remember this clown from the Drunken Peasants. Oh, yeah, referring to Wild Bill for America. He is an ass clown. I have to get it out of my chest, what I have to say about him. He's such an ass. Wild Bill it is. Let's see here. And that's true. He lives in one of those elderly sex crazed communities in Florida. He's some kind of a pastor. And I think he used to live in Texas, but he moved to Florida. Let's see here. All right, looking through. Miguel, how are you doing today? And we see Nikki. No, it's not too late, Nikki. We're always glad to see you here. I haven't seen you around in a while, so I'm glad to see you here. So as I said, my words is this. It's basically, just get your information from independent sources as all as possible. Of course, I'm preaching to the choir. So let me conclude by saying free Palestine, free healthcare, free Julian Assange, and free speech. And Happy New Year to you, Nikki, and Happy New Year still to everybody. It's still rather early in the year. So until next time, you'll probably see me do a little more streaming this week. I've been trying to do that. I haven't been able to stream as often as I need to. And I'm going to try to do better. I will say this. We will have a Braglands on Friday, the usual time, 2 and 5, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I mean Eastern Standard Time. So I hope y'all will come around and that's another thing. I'm appreciative that you watch Braglands, me and Jimmy on my channel, the Willie Bragg Show. But if you can, please subscribe to the Braglands channel too. We're trying to make that channel grow. We're trying to make that channel grow. So if you could, please subscribe to Braglands as well, and help Braglands and help the Willie Bragg Show grow. And until next time, I am definitely out of here, and hopefully you'll see me in the next day or two with another video. So peace.